Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Blues, and we're back with another tier list. Wouldn't you know it, man? Gotta love those tier lists, but I had to finish out the series since today we're doing the top centers in NBA 2K21 Myteam before we get started. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially subscribe. Your boy needs the help in trying to hit 1,000 subscribers at some point in the near future. Either way, you know the drill on tier list. Let me go over the parameters real quick just to double check, make sure you understand. S tier, unquestionable best. A tier, really good cards, very usable. B tier, usable cards. C tier, they're good at one or two things. Generally, I'd recommend using the guys ahead of them, but you can get away with using these guys. D tier, honestly, I would probably avoid them. So, with that being said, let's get underway. Alonzo Mourning, A tier. Why is he A tier, you say? He's got a slow jump shot, I hear. He does, but it's also an easy to time jump shot. But hands down, he's one of the best rebounding and dunking centers in this game. He plays excellent defense. He can lock down the middle. Honestly, rim running being the absolute meta right now, you need someone down low that can actually hold it down, and Alonzo Mourning's actually really good. In addition to that, he moves really well. He has good lateral quickness for a center. He can move extremely well, so that's why he's in A tier, and he is subject to move down if I decide that there's guys in A tier that are significantly better than him, and he's only a little bit better than the B tier guys. He might move down, so we'll see. Art Gilmore, this one hurts, man, but I have to put him down in C tier. He's just not that good at a lot of stuff. He rebounds well and he's big. That's about all he can do, though. He's slow. Post moves are kind of nerfed this year, so anyone with a lot of post badges is not really going to be that great. Him being one of them. Vlade Divac. Vlade's B tier. Why is he B tier, you ask? Well, the parameters of B tier dictate that if somebody can do 2 or 3 things really well at this stage in the game, especially when it comes to centers, they deserve to be B tier. In addition to Vlade Divac playing pretty good defense down low, he has a decent mid-range jump shot, and he has a 73, so he can hit the 3 occasionally if he's wide open, especially from the corners. In addition to that, he has passing badges, so he has like Dimer. I think he has like Bronze Floor General or something. Wait, he might not, but I know he has Dimer. He has some version of Dimer, which is huge for a center at this stage, and he's tall. He's 7 feet tall. He moves okay. His lateral quickness isn't great. He plays good defense. He can pass, and he can shoot a little bit. If that isn't B tier, then you're watching the wrong video. I don't know what to tell you. Next up, we got Al Horford. Al Horford deserves to go in B tier. The reason for it is he's great defensively. I think Alonzo Mourning's just a little bit better. But Al Horford moves pretty well. He plays good defense. He can drive a little bit. His jump shot's not great, but his defense alone deserves to put him in B tier, along with the fact that he's a pretty good passing big as well. Next up, we got Rick Smits. Rick Smits is A tier. He's 7'4". He's got a really easy to time jump shot. His mid-range is actually really good. He's incredibly good at rebounding. He's got a very high block shot tendency and contest shot tendency, which honestly, when you have somebody who's rim running with explosive players like John Stockton or Derrick Rose, you're going to need someone who's just as big as possible that can go and contest that shot, and Rick Smits can definitely do that. And he can hit the uncontested mid-range at a really high clip because he has an easy-to-time jump shot. Released on day 1, my man is still one of the best centers in this game. Hands down. Next up, we got Vin Baker. Vin Baker deserves to go in C tier. He's got some negatives. He's small. He doesn't play the greatest defense, but he can hit the open jump shot. He can ball handle a little bit, and he can drive the lane. That's pretty impressive for a center. Even though he is a little bit on the small side, he does 1 or 2 things really well, which is why he deserves to be in C tier. Next up, we got Theo Ratliff. D. He does 1 thing well. He's big. He plays decent defense, and he rebounds. Well, here's the thing. Art Gilmore does that. Al Horford does that. Alonzo does that. I would take all 3 of these guys over Theo Ratliff. That's just how it is. Swen Nader and Art Gilmore deserve to be next to each other because they basically do the exact same thing. Not much more I can elaborate on. Marc Gasol, C tier. He's incredibly slow. His jump shot's not the greatest. He is not the greatest defensive card, but he can block shots, and he is big, so he can get in the way. But the reason he's in C tier specifically is because of shooting. There's not very many big men that can shoot, and my man Marc Gasol can actually stroke shots. Like, that is a legitimate thing. He's wide open, especially from the corners. He'll hit threes. He will hit contested mid-ranges. If they ever fix post moves, Marc Gasol has really nice post moves, including a nice fadeaway. So he deserves to be in C tier. If you use him at this stage in the game, you're not out of luck. He can actually come through and produce. Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace at this stage is B tier. Literally in 2 weeks, he'll be down in D tier because all he can really do is play defense, rebound. But at the same time, is he that much worse or better than Al Horford? No. Al Horford's a little taller, but Ben Wallace is a little faster and a little stronger. So they're basically the same card, though, as far as like how they operate and what they can do on the court. Michael Thompson. Yeah, Clay's dad's not good. He can shoot a little bit, but he is so slow. I don't like his jump shot. There's not very many things about this card I actually like. That's why I'm putting him in D tier. Alvin Adams. Alvin Adams deserves to go in C tier. Once again, just like Vin Baker, he's small, but he can hit open shots. He rebounds well, and he can actually handle the ball a little bit. He deserves to go there. Willis Reed deserves to go kind of right next to these guys, but being in a polar opposite, Willis Reed is just like a worse version of Ben Wallace. Like, he's 6'9", so he's undersized, but he's got a big player frame. He can get rebounds. He can dunk. He can even handle the ball a little bit. He's actually not that terrible, but he just doesn't do enough things to justify going above C tier. George Miken. S. George Miken does everything. Legitimately does everything. He's one of the only big men in this game that can, I don't want to say thrive in every single facet, but he is above average at literally everything you could possibly ask him to do. Defense, he can shoot threes, he can shoot mid-ranges, he can handle the ball, he can drive in, he can dunk, he can play defense, he can shot block, he can kind of do everything. He's not the greatest card in the world, I will say. We're at this stage right now where, you know, especially when it comes to big men, like, all these guys will be outdated in a little bit. So Enes Kanter, D. He's just not that good, and he's outdated. Not much more I can say. Ryan Hollins. Ryan Hollins is a great defensive card, but is he really better than like Art Gilmore and Swen Nader? No, absolutely not. Bill Laimbeer deserves to go B tier. If his jump shot was better, I would say he would be A tier, but it's really bad. If you shoot with the shot stick, he's probably A tier because there's not very many centers, period, that can shoot threes. But that does limit him quite a bit. He's good defensively and he can shoot threes. He's a 3-and-D center. But at the same time, if you shoot with the button, which, you know, 99% of 2K players at this stage do, he is kind of a liability. Next up, we got Kristaps. Current Kristaps. Current Kristaps is C tier. Just like Marc Gasol, he can hit shots. He's got Kristaps' player build alone allows him to be higher than D tier just because he's 7'3" and he can run a little bit. He's lanky. He's got long arms. He can block shots, and he can hit wide open jump shots because he has a nice jump shot. But that's about it. Shaq. It's Shaq. It's his player build. He's huge. He actually kind of has some speed once you get him evoed up. He plays great defense. He blocks shots. He dunks. Not many people can stop him down low. That's why he's up in B tier. Next up, we got Nate Thurman. Nate Thurman probably deserves B tier as well. I would slap him right in the middle of Al Horford and Ben Wallace. Not the best card in the world, but he plays really, really, really good defense, and he's a force down low. He does do three or four things really, really well, which deserves to be in B tier, and he can hit the open mid-range. Next up, we got Sam Perkins. Sam Perkins deserves to be in A tier because he's one of the best shooting big men in this game. He is a little bit of a liability on defense. That's why I say if Bill Laimbeer had a better jump shot, he'd be better than Sam Perkins, but Sam Perkins actually has a decent jump shot too. Typically, I play Sam Perkins at power forward, but at the same time, he can hold down the middle if you need him to. Next up, we got Jokic. Jokic is a tough one. I'd probably put him down here at C. I can't say he's that much better than Kristaps. He can pass a little bit, but I'd still use Vlade Divac over him, but that just might be a personal thing. Tyson Chandler, extremely good defensively. In addition to that, he just dunks so hard, and he blocks shots. And when you're dealing with people who predominantly rim run, somebody like Tyson Chandler is going to be invaluable to your team, but don't expect anything else besides defense and the occasional putback from him. Bill Walden, same thing. Literally everything I said about Tyson Chandler goes for Bill Walden. He's got a little bit better of a jump shot. That's about it. Bob Lanier. Bob Lanier's good. Bob Lanier's very good. That being said, he's got like a 90-something mid-range, so he can splash mid-range, but if you cross that three-point line, he is bricking so hard. It doesn't make any sense. I love 2K logic. Well, man can shoot 94 from like an inch away from the three-point line, but the minute he moves his foot back literally 3 centimeters, he's bricks. It doesn't make any fucking sense, but that's how it is. He's got decent hot zones too, decent badges. He dunks really hard and he can hold down the middle. He's definitely an A-tier card. I think he's better than Alonzo Mourning. That's just me. Some people may disagree. Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is actually pretty decent. I would put him at like B tier. Everything I said about Vlade goes for Brook Lopez, except instead of passing, Brook Lopez shoots a little bit better. But he's not spectacular. Kristaps. This Kristaps is S tier. Kristaps player build in general, dude, they call him the unicorn for a reason. He's 7'3". He moves really well. He shoots jump shots. He can dunk super hard. He's, like I said, 7'3" with long arms, so he can block shots. He can get in the way. He's not the greatest defensive card. He's actually kind of a defensive liability sometimes, but his offense is so good. And honestly, if you're playing with him, so if you're actually controlling him on defense, he's a lot better than when you let the CPU do it. He's a good card. Demarcus Cousins, B. There's literally nothing remarkable about this Demarcus Cousins card. He's just a pretty good center. Dikembe B. He's literally one of the best defensive centers in this game. Like, it's not even close. He's huge. He blocks shots. You're just not getting anything on offense from this guy, like, at all, aside from like the occasional like rebound and putback. That's about all you're getting from him, and he's going to kill your spacing. But if you're a rim running player, Dikembe is going to be your best friend because it can also stop the opposing team from rim running almost by himself. So, Hakeem Olajuwon, A tier. It's Hakeem. Like, you've been playing 2K for a while, you know Hakeem's one of the best defensive cards in the game. In addition to that, he's got a mid-range, he can dunk. Just an all-in-all quality card. Herb Williams. Bad. Just bad. JaVale. I cannot put JaVale above Art Gilmore, Tyson Chandler, and Bill Walton because they're all basically the same. So, like, there's nothing I can really do about that. Joel Embiid deserves to go B tier. I don't typically use him, but there's not many centers that can shoot as well as him. Like, simply put, there really isn't. Sam Perkins is a better shooter. That's why he's up in A tier. Joel Embiid, he has a nice jump shot. He's better than Bill Laimbeer. Laimbeer's just better at defense. John Konsak. He blocks shots, and that is literally it. And honestly, all of these guys, all the defensive guys I've talked about are better than him. That's the only reason he's in D tier. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he's still an A-tier center. You don't run into him very often because everybody runs 5 out and rim runs and shoot shots and things like that. But Kareem's still really good. He has a wet mid-range. He's got that Kareem skyhook if you know how to get it off. It works still. It's one of the only post moves in the game that actually legitimately goes in a pretty good amount of the time. Post fades, all that stuff, none of that goes in, but Kareem skyhook does. So that's actually pretty huge. And he's Kareem. This is an older, wiser Kareem who shoots a little bit more jump shots. He's not athletic. He's still incredible defensively. Kareem's player build will always be good regardless of the card. And that's just how it is. I can't legitimately put Rick Smits up here and not put Kareem. Same with Hakeem Olajuwon. These two always deserve to be close to each other. Next up, we got Kevin Duckworth. Kevin Duckworth is D tier. He's just big. That's all he does. PJ Brown. I put PJ Brown upper echelon C tier. He's really, really good defensively. He can hit the mid-range. He can dunk pretty hard, but at the same time, I really don't think he's better than, like, let's see, somebody who can do the same thing. Al Horford, for instance. starter Shaq. They both do the same thing PJ does. I think they're a little bit better than him in different ways. That's about all I can say. And regular Diamond Willis Reed. Put him right next to Amethyst Willis Reed. I will say this Willis Reed right here is better than this one, so do not waste your tokens on this Willis Reed. Even if you're a big Willis Reed fan, just go buy this guy for 4 or 5K. That's like that literally. Anyways, guys, that's the list. Don't forget to jump in the comments. Let me know what cards you think should move up, which ones you think should move down, what mistakes I made. Go ahead and slander me, but let's see. I don't care. I will respond to every comment unless they're super mean, so that's how it is. Anyways, I'll be back tomorrow with a pack opening and some gameplay for the new cards that we're getting tomorrow, and hopefully I can get that Pink Diamond Dr. J tomorrow, and everything will be right in the world, and he'll probably suck, and I'll be really upset that I locked in all those sets for him, but whatever. So anyways, thank you for watching the video. I appreciate every single one of you.